Hello everybody, it's Michael Albany of Michael Albany Photography and michaelalbany.com. I wanted to go over how I go through and retouch images after a photo shoot. This particular shot was taken of this young lady at the Free Business Portraits for the Unemployed back in August of 2009. I'll be doing another session of free business portraits for the unemployed coming January of 2010. If you're interested in having your picture taken, keep an eye on my blog at michaelalbany.com and you can learn all about it. In the meantime, let's take a quick look at this image and see what we need to do with this. You'll notice that in this image the area around this young lady's face is a little bit dark through this center section where the lights crossed, where the two key lights crossed. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to duplicate the background layer so that we are working on a layer and still have the background layer in case we ever want to revert back to what we started with. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go Layer, New Layer, and in this new layer we're going to switch the mode to Overlay. And then we're going to select Fill with Overlay, Neutral Color, 50% gray, click OK. And now if we want to lighten something, we would paint with white. If we wanted to darken something, we would paint with black. We already have white selected over here. Let me select my paintbrush tool. And normally, depends on how big of an area I want to do. In this case, I'm doing something, I'm going to do a large part of her forehead and things like that. So I make sure that my brush tool, the hardness is all the way to 0 or very close to it. And then I size my brush accordingly. In this case, about 260, 270. And then basically what I do is I just gently come over here and I just paintbrush around, and because of the soft edge I can get right up close to the hair without actually highlighting the hair, which is something else we'll go over a little later. And we'll go over her eyes a little bit and brighten them up, and then we'll come down along this cheek line and just take the shadow out of that just a little bit, and then a little bit there, and don't like that last one. And basically, that's all there is to it. Quick, easy. If we need to go in and do something else, like this area here, we want to do it, we can just lightly shorten our brush size a little bit. Maybe go in here just a touch and lighten that up. Maybe lighten this space in here on this cheek a little bit. And boom, we have a lot brighter picture of this young lady. Now, because we're going to be doing some blending and skin smoothing and getting rid of these little specks on her the specks of lint on her black shirt, we're going to actually go in and merge these two layers, and we're just going to select them both, and then we're going to merge layers so that we have one layer, and then we're going to zoom in nice and tight on about at least a quarter of the image, or less, or smaller rather. And we can see that there's lint here, there's a little lint here, but there's not a lot on this side. But we'll go into our healing brush tool, and what we'll do is we'll do the spot healing brush, and we'll just do a little click there, a little click here, a little click here, and then what I do is I just go up in increments, up and across, finding any spots that need a little bit of touch up, and just work my way around the image. See, we have a little bit here, and then we have a spot on the nose there, and then we can just kind of scroll down here and we can see we have a little bit of lint here, 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 a skin blemish there, and then another spot there, and that's pretty good. That looks good. But I noticed when we were up here that apparently the lights made her hot and she was perspiring a little bit. So we'll also go to the forehead here. We'll make our brush just a little bit larger than the area we want to change, and we'll just kind of click one click there, maybe two clicks, and just slowly remove any perspiration right out of the picture. And this will only take a second or two to do. It's very quick, very easy, and it just blends right in, and no more perspiration. Just that easy. Okay, now another thing that I wanted to look at, there's a little bit more up here. She was warm that day. Of course, I did have a lot of lights and we were in a space that was rather warm. It was like 90 degrees that day. You'll see that this in here, she's not a heavy woman, but basically because of the way she's turning her neck, the skin's folding here. So what we want to do is we actually want, the healing brush isn't going to really work here. If we sit here and go like this, you can see that that doesn't really work at all. So what we want to do is we need to do something with a larger tool. And in our case, the patch tool is going to work really well. So basically we come along this line and we want to take it in sections. And we want to keep our sections nice and thin and small so that we can just move right over there and drop it in. And as we deselect, we can see we just got a little bit more shadow that we have to kind of pick up here. And we'll clean up the little spaces along the edges when we're done with the healing brush tool. But to get the bulk of it, we want to make sure we cover the shadow and just grab little pieces at a time until we can eliminate this little skin crease from the way she's turning her neck. And then we'll get this last space here, and boom. And it's a little patchy, but we'll fix that in a minute. And then we'll do this other one, this other crease here. Very quick and easy. Not a lot of time to take on these. They come out really, really well. And then that one. And I like to do it in pieces myself. And the reason for that is because then I know that I'm not going to get a big huge reflection. Oop, hate that one. We're not going to get a big huge reflection of another skin area. And see how that one came out nice and smooth, and yet this one we still have that shadow, so we want to redo that one. And they came out a lot smoother that time. And then we'll grab this one right here. And then last but not least, we'll blend into the hair here. And just kind of, boom, done. Then what we do is we go back to our spot healing tool, and we'll enlarge our brush just a titch, and just kind of smooth out all these little spaces here, so that we get a nice natural look to her skin without those creases of where she was reaching over and reaching around. Now, is it absolutely perfect? No. And it's not going to be. We don't want it to be. What we can do is we could go in and we can grab the cloning tool and enlarge our brush there if we wanted to, and then maybe take our sample from here and just kind of work our way through. But see how that kind of really doesn't blend the color well. Then we'd have to go over it again with the healing brush and go and smooth it all out again. And you can do this, like you could spend all day trying to make this look perfect, but actually there's no need to, because what we're going to do is in a few minutes, in step 2 of our tutorial, what we're going to do is we're actually going to smooth her skin quite a bit. Now if we zoom out, you can see that it's not very predominant, it's not very pronounced, and it's easy to see. But what we're going to do is in part 2 we're going to smooth her skin, and we're going to blend that in so that it has a nice natural look, and that'll take care of any little spots that we may have missed around. So until then, I look forward to talking to you, but until then, happy shooting.